Pit Boss here. It's a nice day in my backyard, so I want to maybe see if I can't come up with a couple Sinwali drills so you guys can figure out how to make Sinwali a little easier pattern for you when you're practicing, and an easier way to break it down, as opposed to more complicated ways that I've seen people trying to figure stuff out. So I figure if I can give you guys a couple patterns that we do in the Pintado stick boxing class, or if I can give you the formula that I use to teach people Sinwali, maybe you can apply it in your class or you can apply it to your training, and I found it works really well for introducing beginners to the Sinwali patterns. Okay, so we'll check that out and see if it works for you, I guess. Okay. Now the first and most popular form of Sinwali that you see a lot of people practicing is called Heaven 6. And it starts with a closed chamber as normally taught. A closed chamber, and it's a 1, 2, 3 on the opposite side and chambers to the other side. It's basically the same thing as when you began. So if you started from the right again, I generally break down Sinwali into 3 hits or 3 sections, right? The first hit, the second hit, and the third hit, and then under the arm. I would call this a high, high, high pattern. So I'll be coming up with a couple diagrams so you can see what I'm talking about, but this is all the high, high, high pattern. A Sinwali being Heaven 6. It's a high hit, and another high hit, and then you chamber on the other side. That's all the drill is those 3 hits. And then you basically mirror it from the other side. High hit, high hit, high hit, other side. If you look at it from a stance point of view, I used to tell people when I'm teaching that you can look at it as 3 separate stances. You've got this stance, a head hit, this stance, a head hit with the other one at the shoulder, and this stance, another head hit with this one at the shoulder. So if you look at it from a form point of view, we've got A, B, and C. And then we just basically mirror that hit on the other side. A, B, and C. Alright? So when I'm doing it, when I'm teaching people, I teach it as a 3-point pattern, a box of 3. So you've got a high hit, and a high hit. On the tire, now if you look at it from the form point of view, we've got form 1, under the arm chamber, and a head hit. Form 2, or stance 2, head hit, shoulder chamber. Third hit, shoulder chamber. So that is like basically the very first point of Heaven 6. Once you learn those 3 hits, you just mirror it on the other side, and you've got the whole drill down. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Something to point out that I think a lot of younger or newer people into the Filipino arts make the mistake is they think that this is it. I'm going to attack you and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But that's not the case. We found through sparring, especially training with Maestro Norman and Guru Sunny from the Cali Illustrismo group in Red Deer, Cali, they start from an open chamber. So you're here, then you pass down and you hit on top. Or you pass down and hit on top. Or maybe you swing for the head and you hit on top. Because that first hit gets you to that closed chamber. Or the first passing down and passing a weapon out of the way gets you to that first hit. This really works well if you're doing any tomahawk stuff. I don't have any with me to show you, but you can hook and come on top, hook and come on top, and you're in your closed chamber for beginning most of the Sinwali patterns we practice. The second variation that we show people when showing them Sinwali in our class is what we call the Heaven Earth pattern. I believe I learned this from Datu Kelly Warden and the NSI Arnis system. I believe it's very similar to what they teach in modern Arnis. So well, the way we do it, we pass down and we're in a closed chamber. Now I was saying there was 3 hits of the box, the high, 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 when we were doing Heaven 6. The Heaven Earth, the second box, would be a low box. High, low, high. High, low, high. High, low, high. High, low, high. High. Now this would be a knee hit. That's basically what we're doing there. We're coming boom, boom, boom. You know, it could also be a low block or a low pass of a weapon, but generally we practice everything as offensive as opposed to defensive if possible. We're hitting the hand coming in, hitting the hand coming in. Or we could be hitting a knee or a low weapon and coming in. Whatever the case may be. With the 2 tires here, we practice this like... Excuse me, that last one there was a high, low, low. Home, home, boom. 1, 2, 3. So that's basically the box system that I'm talking about. We've got 3 sections of Sinwali. First hit, second hit, third hit. At least at the beginning levels. So let's say that one we will go with a high, low, low. 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 And we go back to the closed chamber after every hit. From the open chamber, which is a sparring chamber, you can just be swinging, 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 or transferring, practicing going back and forth. Because this motion off of the open chamber, boom, boom, allows you to get into your Sinwali patterns. So we're here practicing poof, 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 poof. I make a lot of sound effects when I practice. So if we remember, we're boxing it into 3 sections on the Sinwali. Either a high, low, high, 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 low, low. All of those are just an easy way of learning it. Once you've learned, and the backhand under the arm, backhand under the arm, once you've learned that pattern, Sinwali opens up. And by opening up, I mean being able to transfer different techniques, being able to transfer to different weapons, even empty-handed. The Sinwali patterns are the foundation of the Filipino arts to a degree. I can't really emphasize it enough. When you're doing double weapons, case like this, dulo-dulo, carabao horns, your basic Sinwali patterns are still there, with reverse dulo-dulo. So that's basic Sinwali. We look at it on this. Coming from a closed chamber, 1, 2, return under the arm, 1, 2, 3, under the arm. Now we could look at it as a trapping drill as well. So we're here, pop, 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 pop. Looks a lot like hubad. Well, it should, because hubad is empty hand Sinwali. Right? Everybody makes a big deal out of all these techniques and they think Filipino arts are so huge. It's all a variation on Sinwali, traditional stuff. Those are all Sinwali. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So maybe you want to do something a little more fancy, a little more Gucci, the high-end techniques or the fancy flashy stuff. You want to add something like maybe say an abanico onto the first hit. So now the 3 beats would be an abanico hit high high. Abanico hit high high. Abanico, hit, high, high. Abanico, hit, high, high. Now, the form itself is kind of, how do you say, it's tricky to get to that abanico. So as I'm coming here, this isn't a natural throw. So I drop it down before I do my abanico. So if you look at my 3rd hit, I'm dropping it down to whip it across the top. Fan hit, cut through on most #1 angle, follow, back, fan, cut, follow, back, fan, cut, follow, back, fan, cut, follow, back. So that's one option that you could do if you want to fancy up your basic Heaven 6 pattern. Another one is a fulcrum instead of an abanico. We call this a fulcrum Sinwali. So we're here, we close in 1, 2, 3. Now after our 3rd hit, we're in a thrust position. But instead of thrusting, we fulcrum over top. Now there's a ton of applications that we might want to do this for, but we're just fulcruming through. I know I added a couple abanicos there. That's just another thing if you want to get Gucci and play with stuff. You're thrusting, rolling over top, and come in. Now the reason we do that, that's a whole other video's worth of explanation why we do the abanico or why we roll like that. We could be using it as another guy's weapon, fulcruming it around, whatever the case may be. But if you want to just practice a solo Sinwali, do something a little more fancy. 1, 2, 3. From this, we come into a thrusting line. Thrust and roll. Thrust and roll. Thrust and roll. Thrust and roll. Okay? Thrusting, rolling over top. So that concludes my Sinwali video. I hope somebody somewhere gets something out of the little tutorial. Just remember a couple things. Sets of 3, easy way to remember it. Keeping it short, keeping it sweet. Don't go side to side. Big problem I see a lot of people doing. Work on your proper angles. Coming down on a proper one and a proper backhand, depending on what your numbering system is. Don't get lazy, right? This is lazy. Slappy, slappy. This is clean, okay?